Video daily update for Monday, October 24th. Bitcoin's doing something interesting, but we have very definitive lines here. And I wanted to make the video instead of a snapshot type of thing to explain why that is. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to try to keep this 3 minutes or less. I'm going to zoom out and show you what's happening on the macro scale. I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart. Bitcoin is at the top of the macro trading channel back from the 69K top. All these tops here, big bull trap, but top. It's at the exact same line, and it's battling for the top line of the macro channel. That's kind of the main thing to take a look at. The second most prominent thing to look at is the weekly candle structure, because last week accelerated massively exactly at the exact line on that live chart. Exactly when this flipped green, that's when it went kablam, and that's what initiated the move, right? So this line right here is massive. And anytime you're going to have a green candle on a green week, even though I'm not necessarily making that assumption right now, but if you were, it's very, very common if your previous week is a fairly small candle body, that you'll not only backtest exactly there, but a small wick down just to see if, hey, are sellers going to be invited heavily if we take it past here or not? That has already happened this morning. And it did not invite the bearish mosquitoes. It did not attract mosquitoes yet, right? So this retest, I mean, if it's going to be a green week, it's going to be straight up from here, probably. It might, mess around with this line for a little bit, but just keep that in mind. And it's marked there, 19,268 roughly, okay? It's just under 19,270. This is going to be big. So those are the two main lines. Macro channel top of the line, plus this line in the sand. I'm calling this the line in the sand. And then so let's go to the 5-minute chart, so we can see how price is interacting. Just this morning during the VIP call, I mean, price was up here. And I was saying, hey, like this looks bullish as long as we're above this line and don't go too far below the line in the sand that I have down here, right? Marked off by the top of this black triangle. So the way I'm perceiving this is this. Is this black triangle is kind of the no trade zone for me because it is above the macro channel line, from which it could easily bounce, but it's below my line in the sand from that week. So I don't want to trade in there until it's made up its freaking mind, right? And this first test, I mean, it's inconclusive. It looks like this is going to come down there, bounce off of here, or bounce off of here if it bounces. I don't know if it's going to bounce, but this is exactly what I'm looking for. Top of the channel or this line in the sand. That's it. So because it looks like it's retested, I'm not long or anything yet. I'm essentially kind of considering price is still messing with this black triangle. Therefore, it's still a no trade for me. Even though it's not technically in the black triangle, but it's playing with it. It hasn't made up its mind decisively yet. So I'm not trading either way on micro time frames. Making sense? All right. Now, this also, this week, if price can stay above this line in the sand, okay, 19,268 or so, then I am personally going to trade long if it's above it after it is more decisive in this area. Not right yet. I'm not going to trade that line yet, but I will be long. However, in my being long, I am going to try to be opportunistic for counter buy. So my bias is long, right? For now. And the threshold I just showed you, particularly below the green. So in the black triangle, not trading, goes below green, the macro channel line, and use that as resistance, I will flip instantly, right? But until that happens, I'm going to be biased to the upside. But because of SPX, all right, and hitting the top of a channel line and Bitcoin playing with the top of its macro channel line, I am going to be very aware that all of this could just be a liquidity grab to the upside before it all slams down. But I don't want to be biased to that direction until this exact area is triggered. This black triangle below it, okay, I'm going down. I'm trading down with it. Above it, after it proves it has support, I will trade up. It's that simple, right? And SPX, if you want to look at that, what it's dealing with, it's got something similar. Well, it's a different trend line. I'm showing you something a little different, but this trend line right here, it's dealing with this trend line. So it's not a macro. This is a mid-macro trend line. It could easily get rejected from that. You seeing that? Plus, you have double resistance because the weekly 10. So right now in a macro channel, SPX is on top. And you already used it as support. Look at this. It is above the top of the point of control, but below the weekly 10. If it gets above this weekly 10, use that support. It's going up, and Bitcoin's going to fly up. Like this, I mean, Bitcoin could easily go to 21K this week. Easily. Especially with last week flipping green like it did. Aggressively at the end. And we've already got the back test, backfill. Like this week could be aggressively up. But you have double triggers for both. SPX specifically. And US 500, oddly enough, has the same exact damn thing happening. It doesn't always align with SPX. So this gives us additional favoritism towards our probabilities here. Because we don't have to kind of decide which one's more important, US 500 or SPX. They're doing the same thing. This is US 500. Top of the point of control, weekly 10. Same thing. So you can use either chart. Sometimes they're not doing the same thing, but they are right now. So within the context of what I said with Bitcoin, whenever I am looking at my bias, before I make a move, I will go to either SPX or US 500. Honestly, in this case, you might just use US 500 because they're doing the same thing. But I will refer back to how price of that is interacting either with the weekly 10 or this, just to make sure that before I pull the trigger on Bitcoin, once I get a signal, so this is kind of like, it's not necessarily no trade zone, but it's a 50-50 either way on how SPX will whip Bitcoin around like a rag doll. But above or below here, Bitcoin, I mean, if this gets below here, Bitcoin will obviously be below that green line. If SPX gets above this line and uses that support and keeps going, Bitcoin will be obviously above the line in the sand. But I'm using this as a double, as a confirmation tool. So on S&P, on SPX, here's the level of that, of the top of the point of control. And for US 500, it is right here. Okay. SPX, it's slightly different. It's like $20 different. But structurally, it's the exact same damn thing. With the weekly 10 is a big deal. So the cool thing about trading this week, even though right now it's kind of in a no trade zone for me, we have extremely specific, like this could be a very good week to trade. Very specific lines in the sand. You don't always get that, especially in sideways movement. But right now we got it. So once we get triggers here, I'm gonna be giving alerts for VIPs. I mean, this could be a damn good week, and so use these lines wisely, and we'll see you later.